Cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, LoBaggers. It is Monday morning, the start of a brand new week. It is March 11th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Now 9 a.m. here because we don't change for daylight savings. Now, obviously, many of you are very excited, hoping that the legend Lodos Loshak will be beside me, and I was hoping that he would be as well. If he's not sitting beside me at some point in the next 48 hours, we probably won't see him for a very long time. So it's a crucial moment right now for Loshak and the Bag to be coming back together, and if it doesn't happen in the next 48 hours, it may not happen. So I'm praying and hoping that the legend will be sitting right here, either on the late show today or on the shows tomorrow, because if that's not happening, it's not going to be happening. Okay, also, Von Polo said, I killed the tracks this weekend. First off, my health took a little bit of a hit over the last weekend, so I'm not in the best situation lung-wise, but I did have an incredible time doing Beat the Bag on Saturday, and I would like to start the show off by giving a big shout-out to none other than our man, Big Ragu. If you guys watched the video we aired on Friday of Ragu breaking down the Gotham Stakes, and you tailed it, you would have had one of the most exhilarating 2 minutes of your entire life. My God. We got to fade the big favorite. Our horse came from the clouds. It was absolutely spectacular. Shout out to Ragu, putting money in everybody's pocket. My contest picks were very good in comparison to my actual bets. I ended up a little bit, but in the Beat the Bag contest, out of 88 entries, 5 people beat the bag. Just 5. Just 5. That's right. I beat 77 people. 8 people. 8 people took me out. Or sorry, 5 people took me out. Sorry, a little rough early. But I'm ready to get to work. Let's give a shout out to all the LoBaggers now. So we got my man Joe Rich Ramirez, Jansen Bonson, Adam Marrera, Elio Topset, Matt Randall, Anthony S. Unbelievable. Robbie Tagaloa, Ron Lofton, Ron Crawford, Island Tony, Serious Business, Brian Watson, Jace Gum in the house, Nick D in the house, Brendan Toland, Ski Profit, beautiful Ski Profit, because this is a very interesting NBA card that we should be able to smash. Vegas Gun here. Hail to the victors and his Big Dick Energy play of the day. Naeem in the house. Alex Simeon in the house. Dan B, Super Cisco, Nairobi, Pittman, Jeff Dean, Steve Cordero, Carlos Bros, TJ, Paul Sargent, Nut Flush Allen, still in Texas. Little hungover from celebrating the MVP 1100. Wow, unbeaten 7-0. Wow, and Caden has another big ring. Shout out to Nut Flush Allen, the whole Allen family, and Caden, who, man, we have a lot of hopes for having a low bagger in the show. Man, this kid can play ball. Shout out to Nut Flush Allen in the house. We got a great group. DJ Big Boss, Joseph Mondalto, Flipper 13. All right. Tasha Mayhew says no Rubio, no Utah. Yeah, I mean, you know what? Actually, every time that Spider has to control the ball and hold on to the ball and not play off the ball, the first game or two, he doesn't do very well, but he gets more comfortable with it. And if you've been watching the last time this happened, I'm not sure if it was game 2 or game 3, but then he broke out and the Jazz dominated. But we'll wait and see that. All right, Joy Bagmouche says, Jimmy O, the Bookie G, got to win it back this week. We will win it back. Cove Coleon in the house. All right. Crane Game in the house. Tomarino. Tomer says, not a great NBA card, but I think there's some value. I agree with that, Tomarino. But first off, we have a nice schedule. We have Drew Martin joining us in 36 or about 40 minutes, 36 to 40 minutes to break down the college basketball card. This is one of the days where we've been very successful on short college basketball cards because we're going to be able to break every single NBA NHL, and NCAA game down on these two shows. And I know we succeed when we have this opportunity. So let's get to work. We have Ben Terrell in the house. Let's get to work. We're going to start with NHL right now. And Rayhan Hyder, beautiful. Nice to see that Rayhan Hyder will be rolling with us. Gate Pass Key also says, what a great hockey card. It's as simple as it looks. Tampa could be a dynasty team, and getting this price for its young Leafs team, I'm all over. Arrested, better defensive, offensive team. Bolts big. Wow. I'm not on the Bolts right now, but we do have Aaron Cervantes in the house. We do have Brant Hunt, Walla Walla Dose, Anthony S. We do have Matt Randall's taint. Play of the day. Matt Randall's taint. Play of the day in action. I'm going to copy and paste that, and we will go over it in the college basketball section of the show. And then we will have Drew Martin joining us on the early show, Maxwell Smart joining us on the late show. We're going to get the work done, man. We're going to get working here. So let's get rolling right off the and hail to the victors. Wow, hail to the victors. So we have the Big Dick Energy play and the taint play of the day. So I'm going to copy and paste that. Get that Big Dick Energy play of the day right under taint. Both on the same game and both different plays. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. This is exciting. Okay. Ted Cabal says, what up, guys? All over Boston today. Very exciting to see the Celtics step up on the road. Like I said they were going to. Very, very exciting. And Drew Daddy says, Mondays are my best day, oddly enough. That's not oddly enough, Drew. It's because depending on how hard you push it on the weekend, you usually come into Monday. It all depends on how you handle weekends. But you usually come into Monday well-rested. You know, ready to hammer the whole week. At least that's what Pete and I do. And Brant Hunt says, I like Watford today as well. LoBaggers full game. Paulo Marquez liking the Flyers all the way. Well, let's start breaking down these games. Let's let Gate Pass Key lean us into the first game. Lightning at Maple Leafs. Vasilevsky versus Frederick Anderson. Very likely could be a preview of the division final, of the Atlantic final, depending on the Bruins. The Bruins are obviously going to have a say in this. Bleds W says, where is Loshak? You know, I was hoping that he would be right here. So if he's not here in the next 48 hours, you know, I don't know what to say. Sean McCarthy, you're asking the wrong guy. And Peter did not leave. And if King Rail's leaving, that's news to all of us, Sean McCarthy. Maybe you are the one in the know. Maybe you could let us know what's going on with SBR. Okay. Mark Lopez in the house says, Milwaukee and Orlando killed me yesterday. Let's get to work. Jay Cross loving the Pistons moneyline. Remo says, what the fuck? No, Pete. Hey, I was hoping he was going to be here too. Listen, I was hoping he was going to be here too. Okay. Now we have to get to work. So clearly, he's not here. I wish he was here. You guys wish he was here. And if he's not here in the next 48 hours, then all bets are off. Lightning coming off a 3-2 win at home versus Detroit on Saturday night. Nikita Kucherov scored twice against the Red Wings, giving him 110 points on the season. And there's King Rail saying, I'm right here. Yeah, I don't know what Sean McCarthy's talking about. But there's King, and we're ready to rock. And I'll hopefully be on the show this week. I had a great time being on the show last week. All right. So, Kucherov, 110 points. Passes Le Cavalier's 108 in 06-07. They are dealing with some small injuries, day-to-day injuries. Dan Girardi, lower body. Strawman, lower body. Adam Erna, forward. So, they have two pretty important defensemen who are day-to-day. They have a forward that's, a fourth liner. They just finished off a 3-1 homestand. Maple Leafs return after a 2-0-1 trip. It's not a good situation for them travel-wise. And the trip actually sounds better than it looked because they had leads going into the third period that they let go of against Vancouver, which cost me money. Shout out to Adam Morera. Alex Simeon says, why? What's in the next 48 hours? Bleds W said, did you talk to him at least, Jimmy? Yes, I've been talking to him. And that's why I expect him here in the next 48 hours. And I can't get into too much of it. Paul Marquez says, sorry for talking about Pete one last time, but I listened to some things that SBR and Pete, like BMOC, he's out of SBR, true or not? He is not. Though those are completely different situations. Every situation with every capper here is completely different. So they're then impossible to compare. So Pete, listen, Pete will talk about what's gone on the last month. There's some health issues that he had to go through. Now, I am hoping he will be here in the next 48 hours. And there's not much more I can say about that. I miss him very, very much, as do you guys. So I know that I was hoping that he was going to be here Monday morning, and I was kind of setting that up for you guys. So you were probably hoping that you would turn on the show on Monday morning, he would be there. As am I. We are all on the same page hoping that LoShack will be sitting here. It's just that simple. All right, let's get to work. Okay. Brendan Tolan says, gambling is stressful. Sometimes people need some time for themselves. Absolutely. Von Polo says, if you talk to him, Jim, what did he say? Listen, Von Polo, let's say you were going through some things health-wise, and you were not making them public on Twitter. And we had some heart-to-heart, very important discussions where you told me everything that's going on. Do you think I would then go and tell the whole world what's going on if you're not doing it yourself? No, because I'm your friend, Von Polo, and I care about you, and I care about Pete. So that's why I'm not doing it for Pete. It's very simple. This isn't fucking high school. I'm not going to come out here going, oh, this is happening, that's happening, this is happening, this is happening, and I lost my virginity yesterday. No. All right. Brian Hunt says, tell Pete to go to the spa, get some hookers. Is there any Asian orchards down there? No, there are not Asian orchards, but there's Spa Star just down the road. DJ Big Boss says, SBR talent comes and goes, but LoBaggers are for life. Ron Fig says, I got health issues too. Prayers for Pete and prayers for you, Ron Fig. Much love to you. Okay, let's get to work. King Rail says, Pete's been rolling blunts dipped in tree sap and giving birthday pics on Carnival Cruises. That's a possibility too. But I will let Pete deliver that stuff. I'm not going to come out here and fucking air whatever laundry's going on. Okay. Brooke Jordan says, whatever it is, get well soon, Pete. Thank you. That's the great. What we could do here is fill this chat with how much we love Pete LoShack. That's what we can do. That's something that can be positive. And listen, I hope he's here in the next 48 hours. I desperately want him here in the next 48 hours. Okay. So, okay. Much love, you guys. And let's get back to work here. Okay. So Maple Leafs failed to win for the first time this season when leading after 2 periods. It cost me money. They were up 2-0. In that hockey game, they lose 3-2 in overtime to the Canucks. In the 3-2 win over the Oilers on Saturday, they allowed 2 goals in the final 2 minutes of the game. Now, I don't think that's a huge red flag or anything. It's just that existed on this road trip. That's all. John Tavares was in on every goal against the Oilers, scored his 38th of the season, matched his career best, added 2 assists, and they got Nazem Kadri back on Saturday. Nazem Kadri was not really in the flow of the game. He did get an assist, but he's going to be extremely important. If you have to play the Tampa Bay Lightning in a 7-game series, Tampa Bay Lightning, the best team in the NHL, clearly this year, you're going to need a very accountable, tough, face-off winning centerman, and he is one of them. Von Polo says, SBR should treat fans better. Hey, man. Yeah. Write a fucking letter, Von Polo. How about that? Put a fucking letter. Jesus. Okay. All right, I'm just trying to stay focused here. I'm dealing with some I'm fucking pneumonia for the last 2 months. I'm grinding this shit out, and it's tough. Obviously, I want my partner sitting beside me desperately. So I apologize this is happening, Von Polo, but please get your fucking ink and feather out and write a fucking letter. All right. So, Lightning, Maple Leafs. It's a tough spot. Let's just take a look at line movement and fucking, goddamn. All right, money lines and totals. SBRodds.com. The 6.5s are so juiced. Both the times these 2 teams have played so far, they haven't. One went to 6, one went to 5. You're going to get a plus 130 under 6.5 of 5 dimes, plus 124 at Pinnacle. That to me is extremely appealing. Extremely appealing. From a money line situation, I can completely understand why Gate Pass Key is all over Tampa, Toronto. I can see it. I mean, you're getting the best team in the league rested at plus 100 against a Leafs team that's coming back from Western Canada to start a homestand, which is a bad place to be in. In saying all that, I'm not going to jump on the Tampa Bay Lightning right now. I need to know that Girardi and Strawman are going to be in the lineup. They're 2 of their top 6 defensemen. I find the under the most appealing spot. I find it very appealing. I think that this has got to be a tight game. In fact, listen, I find the under so appealing, I'm taking it. I'm jumping on the under 6.5 right now at a huge score. All right, under 6.5 at plus 130, 5 dimes. I'm on it. Under 6.5. Plus 130, book it. That's just if this is going to be a playoff type game, you'd have to think that there would be more defense and more accountability. Miss J, all you guys, you guys mean so much to us. You mean so much to Pete and I, and thank you for the kind words. Okay, let's keep rolling forward. Jackets at Islanders. So I'm on the under 6.5 at plus 130. That just seems too enormously bountiful to not jump all over. If this is going to be an extremely intense game, that there's going to be more defense and more accountability. Okay, Matt, all right. Okay, I got to stay focused. Okay. Now let's move on to Jackets at Islanders. Bobrovsky versus Greiss. So Lehner is still injured. And Greiss, I truly do not believe. Oh, I took that first. Oh, and you took the Toronto under. Okay, nice. Nice to hear that, Dom. And shout out to Raul Portwando, Cole Coleon. Okay. Oh, and said, I'd lean under this game, still waiting to make a play on it. Yeah, it makes sense. It just makes sense here. If you're going to get a huge score out of it, it makes sense. Jackets at Islanders. Here, Islanders are coming off 5-2 home loss to the Flyers on Saturday night. We just talked about Greiss. I truly do not believe Greiss is as good as these numbers. 19-11-2, 2.33 goals against average, 924 save percentage. Don Reed says, I'm on the under in the Isles game. It's a 3-2 type game. Tom Marino says, I'd lean Columbus. They made moves at the deadline and need to keep winning to make sure they'll get in the playoffs. Islanders' offense has fallen apart. Tom Marino says, I'd lean under. Islanders' defense was humiliated against Philadelphia. Board Scholar says, the under 6.5 was for what game, guys? It's for this Lightning Leafs. It's just too juicy. I know that these teams are first and third in the league in goals per game, but they're also strong defensively. And the Lightning have an extremely strong penalty killing unit, number one in the league at 85.5% against the Leafs, seventh overall power play at 22.7. It just means too much. Gate Pasky says, missing two defensemen on a team like Tampa is not that big a deal. Their forwards are so talented, we'll just keep going deep for breakouts and support. I will make it a moot point. Hey, you do you. You do you, Gate Pasky. I can understand. It's a bad travel spot for Toronto. And Board Scholar says, what game was it? It was the Tampa Bay-Toronto game. Now, another thing about that Tampa Bay-Toronto game is we watched what the Penguins have done with injured defensemen, and they played even tighter and more conservative. And I expect Tampa to do the same sort of thing. Hedman's not going to want, if both these guys are out, which we'll wait to see this afternoon, then Hedman's not going to want to be up on every rush. He's not going to be leading rushes. He's going to stay back and be conservative because he's going to know he's going to have to play 30 minutes. Don Reed says, Greiss plays Columbus Blue Jackets well. Both teams are terrible power plays. Hideous. Yes. Very, very ugly power plays. Jackets 28th in the league at 15%. Islanders 26th in the league at 15.4%. Mr. Goxer says no value with the New York Columbus side, in my opinion. You know what? I actually disagree. I think the Islanders are coming back to earth. They've won 2 of their last 5. They're without that tough, dependable forward in Cal Clutterbuck. And now Johnny Boychuk took that very hard, high hit from Voracek, which he was suspended for 2 games on, and he could be out of the lineup with a shoulder injury. The Jackets have lost 4 of 6. It was a get-right game against the Penguins. Atkinson scored twice, giving him 38. The Jackets have lost to the Islanders both meetings this year. I think they turn it around. Gate Pass Key said, did the Jackets turn the corner? Did they figure out line combos? It's been one game. One game. But did you think the Jackets were going to add Duchesne and Zingle and get worse? I didn't. Now, I don't trust Duchesne in the dressing room, but I didn't think they were going to get worse. Do I think they turned it around? Look, Gate Paskey, I'm going to put $200 on the fucking Columbus Blue Jackets, and that will be telling you how I think this game's going to go. I think the Jackets are going to beat the Islanders. I think the Jackets are going to start playing better hockey. I think the Jackets are going to figure out their line combinations. Even if I think Tortorella is a jackass, I do think they're a better hockey team with these 2 players. I do think they figured something out in their second chance against the Penguins. So, yeah, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm on the Jackets money line here. Money line, Jackets, plus 104 was the opening money coming in on them. The minus 104 is the best spot. That's at Bet Online. Jackets, minus 104. Look, the Islanders are playing bad hockey because the Islanders were overachieving all year long. All right, let's keep rolling along. Senators at Flyers. Anderson versus Elliott. Flyers are coming off 5-2 win at the Islanders on Saturday. We just were talking about that game. Philadelphia is now 17-4-2 in their last 23. Still 5 points out of a playoff spot with 14 games left. They're unlikely to get there today. Brian Elliott made 25 saves, got the win. Now, the goaltending situation is very unclear because Carter Hart is probably the main reason of this whole turnaround, and he got hurt. So coaches won't let you lose your job because of an injury. So I expect him to be back, and I expect Cam Talbot to be the odd man out. Voracek picked up 2 assists, was playing great hockey, but he suspended 2 games for his hit on Boychuk. Senators dropped a hard-fought 3-2 decision on the road to the Bruins. This can be one of the spots that the Flyers look past this weak Senators team. Senators are 1-9-1 their last 11. Craig Anderson winless since December 17th. They're 1-3-1 under Mark Crawford. They're missing Christian Yaros. Third straight game, he's questionable tonight. And Remo saying Elliott confirmed. So I do think that the Flyers should take care of business. Tormino says Flyers were humiliated by Washington going down 5-0. They bounced back against the Islanders. I think they're flat here. Lean Ottawa plus 1.5. I agree completely. I just, it just seems like a spot that they're not going to be looking. They're not going to be up for this game against the Senators. I think it's just a very dangerous bet to take a minus 1.5 at plus 100, which you can get at 5 times. I think that's very dangerous. And at this point, I'm not going to make that move. Gay Pass Key says, Sens young team are going to run into veteran teams fighting for playoff spots and won't be ready for that. Flyers puck line. I mean, so do you not consider the Boston Bruins a veteran team going for a playoff spot, Gay Paskey? Because explain what the hell happened on Saturday night. It's a veteran team going for a playoff spot that's looking past this terrible hockey team. So I can understand how you cash out here with the Flyers minus 1.5, and I understand how you probably lost money on the Bruins minus 1.5. So it just doesn't make sense to take these minus 1.5s in this spot, and I'm not going to. Mr. Gokster says, Voracek, big heart and soul guy. I get it. So I'm gonna keep an eye on this line, but I just don't know if there's value at the minus 1.5 spot. Let's move on to Sharks at Wild. Now I've got Staylock and supposed to start here. I think they got to go back to Dubnyk here, but Staylock is in a lot of these websites right now, and I find that pretty difficult to figure out here. Staylock 6-6-2, 3.05 goals against average, 895 save percentage. If the Wild want to keep rolling and they're getting Victor Rask back, I would expect Dubnyk to be back in net. Ron Crawford says Sharks. This is a very uncomfortable spot for me to back the Sharks here after a beautiful 4-0 homestand, traveling over to Minnesota. Gate Passkey says Boston are much better than Philly. 2 completely different teams. I will argue if that's what you're looking for. Well, that's a terrible start to your argument because they just barely beat this Senators team. So if Boston's so much better than Philly, a veteran-laden team going to the playoffs, how does Ottawa stay in that game? All right, Gabe Paskey, I love you, but your argument started off shitty. Do a fucking better job if you want to get in the argument. Richie Rich says Minnesota is my play of the day. Eddie Oler says Sharks won last meeting 4-0. Sharks are shaky on the road. I think the Sharks are getting their shit together here, but it's just a dangerous play to see them dominate at home and look so good at home, knowing that they have no Carlson and maybe no Kane, and then come over to Minnesota and take care of business. It's just uncomfortable. Timo Meier scored 5 goals over his last 4 games. San Jose improved to 13-3-1 over their last 17. Kane missed his 4 straight games. He's going to be on the sideline. Carlson out for a while with a groin injury. At this point, Carlson's just going to make sure that he's healthy for the playoffs. That's all he's going to do right now. Minnesota 6-0-2. Had that streak snap with that 6-2 loss at Florida on Friday night. I think that they're rested. I think they come back. I think that Dubnyk is in net. Different, not better. Big difference. Read carefully. You know what? How about this, Gabe? How about I stop reading your fucking... Oh, man. All right. You're not making any... God damn. Okay. Fuck. While they're looking and working in a lot of new players, and now they got Victor Rask back, but they've lost Kunin. Victor Rask is going to play. Gabby says Victor Rask is ready to play. Rask was on the ice between Parise and Fiala. This is a strange, Wild team that shouldn't really be trusted, but maybe situationally. Their best 2 players are old, over-the-hill types in Stahl and Parise. Both of them are not scoring. Parise has 1 assist over his last 4 games. Stahl's doing nothing right now. So, but I do feel like it's just a dangerous spot to back the Sharks. And one thing that you can't do is you can't watch a hockey team have a 4-0 homestand and dominate and think their first game on the road, it's just going to keep rolling. I don't know if that's how it works. And I don't expect it to work like that. Let's check out the money lines and the totals here. San Jose opens up at -135, and money coming in on Minnesota because it's just a bad travel spot for San Jose. We have 2 things going for Minnesota right now. Now listen, I'm not going to back Minnesota, I don't think, because I'm a big fan of the Sharks team. But Minnesota has 2 things going for them. One, they got embarrassed against Florida on Friday night. So now they've had all these days off, and they're coming off an embarrassment, and they're playing against a team in a bad travel spot. A lot of that says back Minnesota here as a home dog. A lot of it says, I don't know if I have the balls to do that, but I'm certainly not going to take San Jose in this spot. Okay, Richie Rich says, San Jose beat Minnesota 4-0 last time. I see revenge. Mr. Ghoster says, Jones has been a coin flip all year for me, especially on the road. Okay. Let's keep rolling along. Okay, Coyotes at Blackhawks. This is another. Oh, and Mr. Ghost said Donato's been on fire too since coming over. He absolutely has. He's been great. Eddie Euler talking about the goals that have been scored in San Jose, Minnesota. 6.14, 6.35, and 6. I get it. It makes sense. And Tom Marino says, Ghoster, I disagree. I think the issue has been San Jose's defense more than Jones. And they have an offensive-minded defense, and it's a different defense when Vlasic is playing well and healthy in that lineup. Let's move on to Coyotes at Blackhawks. Unbelievable. Blackhawks win 2-1 at Dallas, and yet that first period overs keeps hitting. Shout out to Clarence Souza. Thank you for joining us, my friend. Coyotes coming off 4-2 win at home over the Kings on Saturday night. That's 6 of 7 games on their homestand. They've now won 8 of 9 overall, and they're getting production from players who've been hurt. Dvorak was gone all year. Grabner is a big asset to this team, especially on the penalty kill and his speed. He comes back, scores twice. Shadow in the house. So nice to see you, Shadow. Much love to you. Says, I made the following plays in the NHL. Tampa, Toronto, under. Tampa, money line. That's a parlay. Okay, I like that. Arizona, Chicago, over. Colorado, money line. New York, Edmonton, under 6. We'll see what happens. Shadow. I like it. So Derek Stepan continues to be out for the Coyotes. Blackhawks coming off a 2-1 win at Dallas on Saturday night. Corey Crawford, if he can get a little bit of a roll going on, this Blackhawks team would be much better than they are. He just continues to get hurt. He continues to deal with issues through these concussions. He's had so many concussions over the last 2 or 3 games. Richie Rich says, Chicago game crapshoot to me. It is to me. I don't want to make a move on this game at all. It makes me very uncomfortable. Crawford is coming into his own right now. He just stopped 26 of 27 shots. DeBrincat, 28 points in his last 20 games. Patrick Kane is 97 points on the year. And I like what they're doing line-wise. They've separated Taves, Kane, and DeBrincat, all playing on different lines, and then they load up the power play. That makes sense to me. Patrick Kane on 97 points on the year, playing with Dominic Cahoon, and Artem Anisimov. Blackhawks are only missing Calgula right now. He's out with a concussion. Coyotes, Blackhawks to me is, Richie Rich puts it nicely. I think this is a real tough spot. The over up at 6.5. Chicago, a lukewarm home ice favorite. Coyotes have a lot of heart and soul. They're playing very well. And I'm afraid to make a move on that game right now. Hurricanes at Avalanche. Young Suave says Chicago over is the play. Nick Schweska in the house. Thank you for joining us, Nick. Eddie Ola says Arizona 8-2. They've won 2 straight. Chicago 5-5 and won 2 straight. Now, Hurricanes at Avalanche. We got Mrazek at Varlamov. That's how I see it. That's how the websites are putting out the goalie matchup right now. Carolina coming off an impressive 5-3 win at Nashville on Saturday. Nice bounce back from the 8-1 beatdown they received on Friday. Now, Friday I went 1-1 because I had the under 6.5. I should have taken that 6 for a big plus line, but under 6.5 in that Capitals-Devils game. But this was an obvious giant mistake I made on Friday night, thinking that, the Hurricanes also, it's that one of those spots where they have one home game in 2 weeks, and they come back for that one home game. Now, we've seen other teams in that situation. The Rangers were just in it on Saturday night, but so some teams handle obviously better than others. Jin Rami says, I'd take Coyotes, but only in the plus 120 range. I understand that. Okay. They're 9-2-1 over their past 12, Carolina. They're playing good hockey. Furlan is the only Kane on the injury report with an upper body injury. Avalanche received terrible news on Thursday. Captain Gabriel Landeskog done for the season. Now, it's a crushing blow for this team, only 2 points out of the playoff spot. They won the first game without him 3-0 at home versus Buffalo on Saturday. Grubauer only had to make 18 saves. You know, there's players on this team that I like. I mean, this top line of Brassard, McKinnon, Comfer. I like Brassard with McKinnon. And I understand splitting up Rantanen and McKinnon if Landeskog isn't going to be there to open up space. Their second line, Colin Wilson, Carl Soderberg, and Mikko Rantanen. I actually think, you know, I've always been a fan of Colin Wilson. I've always had a bit of the jury still out with Carl Soderberg. But Bo, shout out to Jorge, don't play in the house. Tomino says, Books haven't adjusted since Colorado's been struggling. Excuse me. I think that here, I think the Avalanche will start struggling. I understand playing hockey all my life. You lose your captain. The first game back, you guys all come together and you play very hard. Maybe they do it for a second game. Maybe they do it for a third game, but it's not going to continue for the rest of the season. And I'm going to fade them here right now. I'm going to fade them tonight. Carolina, I'm going to take on the money line. And they open up at plus 104. They become the favorite. That makes sense to me. I'm getting minus 108 at Heritage. Our friends from Heritage. Hurricanes, money minus 108. Okay. So that is my second spot. Thank you guys for caring about me. Sorry, still just dealing with the health issues. Okay. Obviously, I want puck lines. Eddie always says when the captain goes down, morale will start to slip. Yeah, and it won't start to slip right away, but it will get there. And I also, you guys know how I cap. I want puck lines. I want many puck lines as possible. And there's a beauty here. Even if Koskinen is still sick, I'm taking the Oilers minus 1.5 tonight at home. They're coming off having their 4-game winning streak snapped in a 3-2 loss at home to the Leafs on Saturday night. Just a second regulation loss for the Oilers in their last 9 games, 6-2-1. Draisaitl keeps rolling, 30 points his last 20 games, 13-game point streak. McDavid has scored just twice in his last 13 games. But he has 18 assists over that span. Edmonton has just 4 goals on his last 35 power play chances. 0 for 4 again on Saturday. Their power play's been terrible all year. And a lot of that, you could say, it goes for coaching. Gate Pass Key, sorry, I've supported the show for 2 years, tried to give honest feedback, even when it wasn't the most popular. I've passed the site on to others. Thanks to all. Good luck in the future. Come on, Gate Pass Key, that's the end of our relationship? We have a disagreement about Boston, and that's the end of we lose you for good? Can we not have a disagreement on a hockey game? Or is that how strong our relationship is anyways? Gate Pass Key, you're going to leave because we have a disagreement about the Ottawa-Philly game on Monday? Listen, I'm sick and I'm grinding my ass off and I'm dealing with questions nonstop about where my partner is, and you're just going to leave because we have a disagreement on a game on Saturday. Listen, Gate Pass Key, you're a huge asset to our capping, but if that's enough to make you leave, do what you got to do. Holy shit. Okay, Oilers minus 1.5. Jesus, we can't, aren't we supposed to be able to have disagreements on hockey games? Isn't that what capping is? Jesus. My God. Holy fuck. Jesus. Unbelievable. Okay. No, I like the guy. I like the guy, but we can't. How are you going to cap? Do you want me to just agree with everything that you say? Come on, man. How are we supposed to cap together? Okay, let's stay focused. God damn. Okay. Draisaitl, 30 points over his last 20 games, 13-game point streak. McDavid, as I said, 18 assists over his last 13 games. He's not scoring. Edmonton has just 4 goals, last 35 power play chances. But this Rangers penalty killing is 25th in the league. So if there's a chance, because Oilers power play is still 12th in the league at 20.8%. If there's a chance that this Oilers power play will get their shit together, it'll be against this Rangers penalty killing that's flowing all the way across the country to get rolling. Edmonton still 7 points behind Minnesota for the final Western Conference playoff spot. Arizona, Colorado, Chicago all ahead of the Oilers. They're probably not going to make the playoffs. They have Lucic dealing with an undisclosed injury. Who cares? Get that guy off the ice. You know, obviously he adds toughness, but it's not the biggest loss right now. It's fine. If Anthony Stolarz has to be in goal with Koskinen being sick, that is fine. Rangers coming off 4-2 win at home over the Devils on Saturday night. Now, Lundqvist, another situation in this is that Lundqvist, who's playing well right now, 933 save percentage over his last 3 games, will not start here. The coach won't put them in that situation. He starts Saturday night. Remember, they just played in New York on Saturday night. So, Georgiev will get the start here. This is a great spot to me. Rangers will be without a rookie defenseman, Libor Hayek, probably for the rest of the season. Is sad. He scores his first NHL goal on Saturday, then separates his shoulder. Mark Stahl did return. All that said and done, I'm on the Oilers -1.5 here. Point spreads, Oilers -1.5 at plus 176 available at Heritage. Oilers -1.5 plus 176 available at Heritage. All right, that's the NHL card. That's the whole thing to me. We're going to spend very little time on this on the late show. I'm on Lightning Maple Leafs under 6.5 at plus 130. I'm on the Blue Jackets -104. Eddie Oiler says Lundqvist projected. I see that too, and I have Lundqvist as the goalie in net here. Yeah, so I have a sneaking suspicion Georgiev will be called on to start this first game, and the Oilers will become bigger favorites. So that's just a sneaking suspicion, and we use that to our advantage. When we had the Sharks -1.5, even though they were sick, we had a sneaking suspicion that Niemi would be in goal and they'd make the switch and we'd get a much better line here. It's the same sort of deal. Okay, Lightning Leafs under 6.5 at plus 130. Jackets at -104. And then Hurricanes at -108. And then Oilers -1.5 at plus 176. Yeah, see, Richard says Lundy won't start, but he's listed. I mean, I just don't expect him to. It's just not what a first-year coach out of college is going to do to the King Lundqvist, who's at the end of his career. And Rem says Dubnik confirmed. That makes a ton of sense. Thank you, Rem. Shout out to Thomas Korajim. Shout out to, sorry, guys. Okay, and Angel Romero as his morning soccer play. Let's use that to move us in the NBA. Morning soccer play from Angel Romero. This guy cashes nonstop. Lechia Gdansk, money line, -167 from Poland. And Roma first half money line plus 135. And Mets first half money line plus 110 from the French League 2. Angel Romero, I will copy and paste that. Thank you so much for sharing your hard work with us. All right, beautiful. All right. Okay, let's move on to this NBA card, which we will smash, and we will smash hard, especially on the late show as well. We're going to have time to break down all of these games. And Tomino says Rangers stay in their game with their offense. Agreed, Jim Rummy. And Jim Rummy says Rangers go to plus 160, plus 170 on that good-looking road team. Listen, this is a spot, you know, that I absolutely love fading a team that's not very good on the road, and that's when they have to fly across country, and they don't have 2 days off in between. If this was Tuesday night game, I would think differently. Joseph Mondado says, do you like the Avs Hurricanes over, Jimmy? Let's take a quick look. We don't have a lot of time, but we're not going to touch it at all on the late show. Avs Hurricanes over 6. Yeah, it's juiced. Yeah, I mean, that play makes a ton of sense. Joseph, that play makes a ton of sense. The question is whether and I don't think they will, but the question is whether the Avs tighten up without their captain, tighten up. But I'm going to leave a little note here, and I'll look into that game and look into that over in the afternoon. That might be a great look. Thank you for sharing that, Joseph. Okay, let's break down this NBA card, starting with Raptors at Cavaliers. Raptors are on the second half of back-to-back after winning 125-104 in Miami last night without Kawhi. Toronto can sweep the season series against the Cavs. They won the first 3 games by an average of 13 points. Kawhi Leonard has destroyed them this year. And I did find it strange. The Raptors, capping the Raptors right now, I mean, because you have to think Kyle Lowry's going to be rested in this game. It's a tricky spot because they're stepping up without Kawhi. They don't really have a rhythm right now. They're still bringing Gasol off the bench. The whole thing is they're a confusing team to cap right now. Minus 8.5 across the board and minus 9 at Bovada. This total opens at 222 and now is at 221.5. So Cleveland coming off 126-110 loss at Miami on Friday night. They're 4-4 since the All-Star break. They could have won 7 of those 8 games too. They lost down the stretch. Kevin Love's made a big difference, and so is Colin Sexton, averaging 15.2 points, shooting 38.8% from the arc, but he's still not distributing the ball at all. Matthew Dellavedova out with a concussion. Larry Nance, chest, both listed day-to-day. Tristan Thompson's probably going to be shut down for the rest of the season. So with both Nance and Thompson out, it's the Zizic show. We're going to see a ton of Zizic and a ton of Kevin Love. In saying that, I really believe, we got Rico Money's got a soccer play. Empoli plus 1.5 in the Italian Series A. And he hit on the money line last night. Wow, impressive. Rayhan Hyder says, is this a Cavs first quarter spot? Yeah. To me, it is. To me, it definitely is a Cavs first quarter spot. And I think we take it now because Kyle Lowry's going to rest. And what? Jeremy Lin's looked awful. I mean, he's looked a little better last game, but he still looks awful. To me, this is a Cavaliers first quarter spot. It absolutely is. But 2.5 might not be enough, man. It might not be enough. Raps all day says 2HK702. Plus 2.5 and minus 115. Paco Healy says, what the fuck? We really just lost Gabe Pasquille. Listen, what am I, sorry, man. What am I supposed to say? I disagreed with what he said. It's been a tough show dealing with all the Pete stuff. Obviously, I don't want Gabe Pasquille to leave, but what the fuck am I supposed to say, man? God. All right. Raptors, Cavaliers. I feel like Board Scholars right says Raptors first quarter needs at least, I would say, a 3. Mark Lawrence picked the Cavs, but he's been cold lately, says Eddie Euler. 2.5 is scary. I think this could be a first quarter spot, but I just don't know if I want to pull the trigger. I feel like the Raptors looked very good with their bench last night. Are they going to kind of, that's going to take a little bit of time. And also, if I don't take it now, I'm not going to be able to take it later. I'm not going to be able to take it later because we're going to have Kyle Lowry announced out, and this will go down to 7. So if you want the Cavs full game, which even that sounds dodgy to me, you would want to take that now because when Kyle Lowry's announced out, it's going to be a 7.5. And King Rail saying Raptors first quarter, Raptors first half, so I'm off that. So let's keep rolling along because we're going to have Drew joining us shortly. Kings at Wizards. Sacramento opened a 4-game road trip with a 102-94 win against Knicks on Saturday. King Rail made a nice, juicy, big bet on the Kings. Respect. Shout out to King Rail. Tom Reno said Larry is key with Lamphia. I agree. Lamont says, my max bet lost, but I had a 5-team parlay, 1 push. Great job, Lamont. BidX says Raptors higher winning percentage without Kawhi. 38-14 with, 15-4 without. It's very strange. It's tough. It's tough, man. It's the Raptors are a tough team to cap right now. There couldn't be a tougher one. Kings at Wizards, though. Kings, Von Bridger says Kings have been trending, Brendan Tolan says Kings. And Jay Scum says, I'm leaning towards Washington. Chris Postal liking the under in the Wiz game. Breets Beats in the house says Celtics -1 play of the day. It's moved up to 2. And Lamont Williams says, what's your favorite -1.5 on the day? It's the Oilers, -1.5. So Fox stepped up in that game against the Knicks. 30 points, 8 assists. Buddy Hield went off for 19 points. But Fox was the guy. 11 for 17 from the field. 5 for 5 in the fourth quarter. They're chasing San Antonio for the 8th spot. They can come out east and step it up. It's possible. Tommy says Sacramento's been trash on the road all year. I won't bet them as the road favorites against any NBA team. Brendan Tolan liking the under as well. Kings announced that Marvin Bagley's resumed basketball activities, but it's not clear when he'll return. They lost by the Wizards are coming off 2. The Wizards are playing much better basketball. We can all agree on that, and that's tough to come back home after those 2 tough back-to-back losses Friday, Saturday. They lose by a point at Charlotte and then take the Timberwolves to overtime and lose 135-130. Beal leading the way, Trevor Ariza, Bobby Portis. They're all playing good ball, but they turn the ball over way too much. 18 turnovers against the Wolves. This team, second last in the league, rebounding differential at -5.9. Again, out-rebounded 56-50 by the Timberwolves. They are looking a little better. On the boards right now. They are looking a little better. Tomio says, agree, Ski. Washington playing hard with new players. King Rail is on the Kings. And Tomio says, Kings are a good first quarter team. I'd lean to them first quarter, but I don't trust them full game on the road. 2HK702 says Kings win easy, and Ski Prophet says leaning Wizards. It's a tricky game here. Wizards are playing better basketball. How are they going to take that back-to-back on the road that didn't go very well? And King Rail says Kings win. Don't overthink it, guys. Let's take a quick look at what the spread is on this Kings game. Opens at, oh, that's first quarter. Sorry, you guys. Let's go full game. Spreads and totals here. Here we go. Kings at -1 right now, or -1.5 a bookmaker. And this total up to 240. Man. Cove going on says 240. I'm on it. Ben Dover says Kings 25 and 10 one-day rest against the spread. And Board Scholar says, damn, King, if you're that confident, I'm with you. Jay Cross says, my NBA picks for tonight, Detroit money line, the over 221.5, plus 290. Rockets money line and the under 225.5 and plus 150. And the Clippers money line and the under 226.5 at plus 270. Plus 3002 total. Wow, good luck, Jay Cross. Get it. Again, this is a spot that I'm going to need more time on. Kings at Wizards. Rob Portwano got Kings plus 2. Interesting. I'm going to watch back and go over this chat once more before I make decisions here. Let's move on to Pistons at Nets. Take a quick look at the spread and total here. Brooklyn opening at -4, now -2.5, and the total at 222.5 or 223. Pistons at Nets. The team split 2 meetings in the opening weeks of the regular season. Detroit won 103-100. Brooklyn won 120-119 overtime. But these are very different teams now, especially Detroit. Detroit going into Brooklyn, 34-31, won 5 straight, half-game lead over the Nets in 6th place, coming off a very easy 131-108 home win over the Bulls on Sunday afternoon. Griffin goes for 28. Drummond goes for 16 and 15. Pistons score 42 in the third. Season-high 34 assists. This team is rolling, playing by far the best basketball of the season. Listen to this. They're averaging 123 points per game and shooting 52.5%. This was a team that could not get anything from outside in the first half of the year. Now, Bruce Brown dealing with ankle injury, questionable. Pachulia dealing with the Achilles injury, questionable. Brooklyn is the question here. Brooklyn, 27-15 since that terrible start. They stop a 3-game losing streak with wins over Dallas, Cleveland. They barely beat Atlanta 114-112 on Saturday. Dinwiddie looks nice defensively on Trae Young. Tom Marino says Detroit should match up well. Allen is playing better, but Drummond and Griffin should have big advantages inside. Also, Tom Marino says no Detroit starter played more than 30 minutes yesterday. I'd lean Detroit here. Now, this Brooklyn team's a lot different. I mean, we watched Dudley starting at power forward for most of the first half of the year, which was nuts. Now, Kurucs is starting there, and he's looked good. He's averaging 15 points, 6.3 boards since being inserted in the starting lineup 3 games ago. BitXN took the Wizards. Oh, man, Jemiah in the house. So nice to see. Too sharp to be square, my man, Jemiah James. Liking Pistons money line here. These are Ski Prophet liking Pistons. Ben Dover liking the Pistons and the over. If you were taking an over in this Pistons-Nets game, I would say take it first half. I know that Torino says that no Piston played over 30 minutes, but what happens to your jump shot on the second game in the fourth quarter of a back-to-back because you just don't have the legs under you? CR saying Pistons all day. Jeff Joseph says agree with the over in Brooklyn. Bleds W, I will repeat the NHL plays. We just got to touch on these NBA games as fast as possible here because my man Drew Martin's ready to cap some college basketball. So I hear what you guys are saying about the Pistons. I'm hesitant to take them here. Now, look at the difference between them in that home with Chicago. When they went on the road, yeah, they got the win, but they barely got the win. They squeezed it out late. At home, they win by 25. I'm just a little hesitant to back the Pistons here. Allison says Nets start slow, first half. And Scott, my man Scott, swearing off basketball unders. Ben Dover says over is the safest play. Bluebird on Kings money line, Raptors first half, Nets money line, OKC plus 3.5, and Celtics money line. So let's move on and just touch on these last couple games and then move on to college basketball here. And Darren Cook says Brooklyn is the play today. You know, to be honest with you, Darren Cook, I kind of lean towards that side right now, but I wanted to hear what everyone had to say. Hornets at Rockets. This is another spot where the Rockets open up as really big favorites. Minus 10.5. Now they're down to minus 8. This total opened at 227.5, down to 224.5. Because the Rockets have held 3 straight teams under 100 points, coming off second half of a back-to-back. 94-93 at Dallas last night. Harden had a rare off night, but Gordon stepped up. Fareed returned to the lineup yesterday. I don't expect him to be in the lineup today. He only played 12 minutes yesterday. Charlotte's playing bad basketball at the wrong time. Lost 131-114 in Milwaukee, but a lot of guys were resting in that spot. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist wasn't in the game. Tony Parker rested. Both those guys will be in the lineup tonight. Jeremy Lamb listed as probable. I think Borrego's done actually a pretty shit job coaching this team. The fact that he's moved on to Kaminsky now and he's playing him a lot, 22.2 minutes, 14.6 points, 5.4 boards, and barely plays him for like 2 months, just means that he has no idea what rotation he wants to use, which is a sign of a young coach, not a coach that's in control. Tomino says Hornets are total garbage on the road. I won't back them against anyone idling Houston, but 2HK702 says fade Rocket. Jeff Joseph says Hornets break my heart all the time. They're done. And Tom Marino says I'm dealing with a hamstring injury. He's been key for them. So that's going to take a little bit more time here. King Rail says Parker game time decision. Parker and MKG are going to play. All the intel I've received, King, they're going to play in this game. It's Lamb that's questionable. So Eddie Goes saying Houston won by 5 in Charlotte on February 27th. And my man Thomas Corjum says Borrego has no one beside Kemba. I think that I'm going to probably back Houston here, and I don't care if Fareed's in the lineup or not. So I got to lean towards Houston here, and I like that the line's gone down to 8. Ski Prophet says Rockets over possibly. Then we have Thunder at Jazz, Celtics at Clippers. We'll just spend a minute on both. Thunder at Jazz. Man, that 148-147 double overtime game, first game after the All-Star break, it crushed me. I had the Jazz on the money line at plus 160, and I lost it. Since that game, Jazz are 5-2, Thunder 2-6. Both teams look bad on Friday night. Memphis lost 114-104. Thunder lost 118-110 to the Clippers. Utah lost at Memphis 114-104. The Thunder have won all meetings this season. I truly think that Spider will get his shit together now, having to handle the point guard duties without Rubio and Nato. I think he will. I think this is sort of the spot where I think the Jazz can take care of business here. But Brendan Tolan says Thunder 3.5. Let's just quickly see what the line movement and the total is in this Oklahoma City. Jazz open at minus 3.5 and stay there. Total opens at 227.5. Now goes down to 226.5. You know, I'm liking the Jazz in this spot. I hate that their bigs are so vulnerable because if Gobert or Favors gets hurt or in any foul trouble, they have nobody else. You know, with Bradley hurt and with Ekpe hurt. Ben Dover says Jazz another. I'm going to study this more, but I'm certainly leaning towards the Jazz to take care of business in this spot. I really am. Matt Collins says OKC in the dog spot. They've been breaking my heart, but I'm going to stick with them. And Super Cisco liking the first half under. And then we have Celtics Clippers. Are the Celtics going to sweep this run through California? Marcus Morris said, and we talked about them needing to get on the plane out of Boston. I think we all just came with a better mindset, realized what we're trying to do here, feeling good, man. Then we go to LA, good weather. That might be a big part of it too. They're just feeling better. This is a emotionally vulnerable basketball team that doesn't communicate enough, and they're rolling right now. Now, the Clippers, Gallinari, Lou Williams are monsters right now. They've won 4 straight. They won 5 of 6. They beat the Thunder on Friday. Williams goes for 40. Gallinari goes for 34. Ski Prop saying OKC 29th three-point percentage, but will they score in the paint versus the Jazz? Tormina says George has not shot well since the shoulder injury. Red Girl says Jazz under full game. Jazz has 3 players out. They do, but I think Donovan's going to be more comfortable playing the point now after a few games with this situation. Smart Money says, indeed, Boston wins. Now, we're going to hammer this NBA card harder at the start of the late show. We're going to hammer this card. I'm going to talk to some of the guys, see if I can get one of our NBA experts to join me to break down this card. I will have a bunch of plays on the late show. The late show will be all about the hardwood. And speaking of the hardwood, speaking of college basketball, we have our man Drew Martin joining us. Drew, thank you so much for joining us. I know how busy you're going to be over these next couple weeks, so thank you so much for spending time with us. How you feeling this morning?
Jimmy, happy Monday morning to you, man. I'm doing good. Just breaking down a little college basketball here. Not many big games on today's card. It's not a card like I love a lot of volume or anything like that. But March Madness is here, man. So even if today's card isn't that good, this month is it's my favorite month to be a sports bettor, man. I think we got a lot of advantages on our side. So hopefully we can find a couple winners, man.
Hopefully we can. Well, let me talk about the 2 plays of the day that we've already received from our low baggers. Matt Randolph's taint play of the day, Wofford and UNC Greensboro over 139. Says this total has gone way under the last 2 meetings. I expect a way closer, higher scoring game with no team wanting to ever throw in the towel. Lots of fouls late. And then our man, Hail to the Victors with his Big Dick Energy play today, says Wofford first half -3, Wofford full game -6.5. Let's quickly look at both those spots on the board and see what's happened with them. Wofford total, or the full game, is now at 7. So my man Hail to the Victors got them early, and this total is dropping as we speak. It continues to drop. Open at 141 at BetOnline, now down to 136. Wow, dropping fast, but Matt Randall on the over. What do you think of both those looks in this big spot, Wofford at UNC Greensboro, Drew?
Jimmy, first, I love the taint play of the day. Hats off to him. But I guess I would come back with Wofford and UNC Greensboro. They're matching up for the third straight time, and Wofford already beat them by 29 points and by 30 points. So coming back at this, I know UNC Greensboro. A couple stats on them. One, the turnover margin's really good. They also average over 75 points per game, so they can put the ball in the bucket. But going against Wofford, for whatever reason, the matchup standpoint, possibly the talent standpoint, they just can't keep up. And a lot of times when, it's kind of a philosophy out there, it's hard to beat the same team 3 times in a season. And in sports like the NFL, where it's a little bit more balanced as far as talent goes by, I agree with that sentiment. But in college basketball, a lot of times, man, you just go up against another team and they're just better than you. And I worry that the market's getting a little too cute with a short number here. And it's actually a situation where the value is with the favorite, in my opinion. So I kind of think Wofford kind of runs away with this, like the other play that you were saying. I think the value here is on the Terriers minus the points. And as far as the total goes, I think it gets a little volatile. If Wofford blows their doors off, it can make it a little volatile as far as the total goes, because sometimes they're towards the end of the game. We've talked about this before, Jimmy, where if it teams up by 15 plus points, those possessions get a little longer, and sometimes that doesn't help the over. Kind of leans towards the under in that situation if it's not a competitive game. So no chance of foul fest there at the end. So I would lean towards the under, and even more so, I'm looking to get on Wofford tonight.
Yeah, I can understand that, and that's what our Hail to the Victors Big Dick Energy play today is on Wofford first half and full game. Interesting breakdown. We only have one other ranked opponent, so I'd like to get into other spots, but Pepperdine in way over their head. Now, I know it's in Vegas for this tourney, but they are 23.5-point dogs here. This total opened at 158.5, 156.5. You have any feel for this Pepperdine at Gonzaga spot?
Yeah, the Pepperdine Waves, first off, this is in the New Orleans, I believe, in Las Vegas. It's something that I've heard is a lot of fun. Haven't yet been to the WCC tournament, but kind of have it on my bucket list. Maybe that could be something next year, Jimmy, for the LoBag show, to go see the WCC tournament in Las Vegas. But as far as the Pepperdine Waves go, 3-game win streak, playing better here towards the end. Kobe Ross, their best player, scored 26 points, also had 9 assists. Those are some lofty numbers for college basketball. So he's a heck of a player there for Pepperdine. But going up against Gonzaga, man, this is next level in this conference. And talking about Wofford being able to at least have the ability to blow out UNC Greensboro, you just see it in this price here, man. Up over 20 points on Gonzaga against a decent Pepperdine team. It does look a little pricey, but it's just a tough look for me sidewise. I can see both teams being able to score a bunch, and I just think this total, as it starts inching towards the mid 150s, 160s, it's up there. But I can see both teams getting up and down the court. Gonzaga, is going to push it. They're the more talented team. I think they'll control the pace, and I could see this game going up and over the total.
Wow, going against the market move, but let's see if most of that market move on the total was... No, it's been the last little bit this morning going down a little bit. Interesting. Up and over is a lean. What are the other games that you have your eye on this card, Drew?
A couple games I was looking at as far as... those were the 2 games I was really looking at getting on. As far as a play, I haven't bet anything as of right now. The Wofford game is something I'm pretty sure I'll be on. I actually wanted to talk to you and the LoBaggers about it, as far as why you guys think this price is just -7 here, with the two outcomes before this game and Wofford being the more talented team, at least in my opinion, to see it from 29 and 30 points down to 7, and that was back to back, both home and away. So it's almost like I think I'm missing something in this Wofford game, but I still think this side is short. So on a card that I don't love, I feel like I got to have a play going in tonight, watching college basketball. So I was looking to get on Wofford -7, and really wanted to get your opinion and the chat's opinion on that.
Well, to me, it's a red flag. So to me, when I see something that doesn't make sense, it means that you got to pull out a microscope and figure out exactly why they're doing it. Now, we've seen UNC Greensboro over the last couple of years as a very, very strong team. Now, they lose their star offensive player to graduation last year, but it's a very well-coached program, and they've been embarrassed by this Wofford team twice in a row, and Wofford has everything going for them, and yet it's a 6.5. So, but I do expect this to be 7.5, at least by the time we get to our late show. We'll see what the guys in the chat have to say. Board Scholar says, yeah, that's weird. They killed him the last 2 games. You got Moss says, Drew, I know firsthand in my playing days, 3rd time in the college basketball season is hard. Joseph Mondado says, I have Wofford winning by 12-15. Drew Daddy says, this is a line because of the other small conference championships games yesterday. Liberty and Lipscomb. Yeah, Liberty stepped up against Lipscomb. Shout out to Sash Taljard in the house. Yeah, to me, it makes me extremely uncomfortable. It always has. It always has. So, we'll keep hearing what all the guys in the chat have to say. But right now, it's an extremely uncomfortable spot. Extremely uncomfortable spot. And
hey, look, Jimmy, one thing I'd say to You Got Moused is, I get it in your playing days, like 3 straight times beating a team, but were the first 2 times you beat them by 29 and you beat them by 30 points? I mean, coming back for that 3rd game, it's not like, everything is all the same playing field. So if you blew out 2 times before you blew out a team, coming back that 3rd time, I don't think it's like, you win in by 4 points and 7 points, and then you got to play them again, where it's a competitive matchup. This is 2 blowouts, man. So I'm not so sure that it's really apples to apples.
Drew Daddy says the championship games are close. Yeah, we'll be talking about this game throughout the day, and I look forward to it. It is the big special spot on this card, but there are some other spots that are interesting and somewhat appealing. Green Bay Wright State is something that I'm looking at. Also, we got Monmouth at Iona, but our man Elio Topset saying Oakland at North Kentucky is a spot he's looking at. The Norse -5.5. Oakland's been getting better and better as the season's gone on, but I would like to hear from you, Drew. Are there any other spots on this card that have your attention?
Well, I just pulled up that the Oakland game, the Grizzlies, and they're a team that's not going to really push it. And you're right, they've gotten better throughout as the season's gone on, but it's also tough to get worse on the way they started. Just like 4-11 or so. But I guess it's a tournament game going against Northern Kentucky, the Norse, and I just think Northern Kentucky's the more talented team. It's just a matter of the point spread here. It's 2 teams that I really haven't bet all season, so just kind of pumping the brakes as far as how much I would really put on this game. But I could see it being a slower pace game. As we get more important basketball here, I tend to start looking towards the unders, and I could see Northern Kentucky being the more talented team. Not offensively, they'll push it, but on defense, kind of slow it down. And I'm kind of leaning towards the under here, Jimmy.
Yeah, the market is as well 155.5 down to 152 or 152.5. Eddie Oiler says Oakland's won 5 straight. North Kentucky won by 15. King Rail says, Jimmy, I have to run. I trust your input with the Raptors. How confident you are that Lowry will sit. Still want to take the -8, but wait for better line. I think that's a good idea, King. And I'll get in touch with you this afternoon. So I'm going to need some help with this NBA card on the late show, and I'd love it if you could join us. Matt Randall, going back to the Green Bay game, Green Bay at Wright State says, I think Green Bay could win. Maybe he's talking about. Sorry, maybe he's talking you Greensboro. Maybe he's talking about Greensboro. So I'll step back there. Robbie Tagaloa leading Charleston. We have the College of Charleston playing in this game, and we don't have. We don't have any of your Florida teams in action here, but we do have teams that you know quite well. Why don't we touch on this late game? San Diego St. Mary's. San Diego opening as 5.5-point dogs. Now they're 5-point dogs. This total opens at 129-126. What's your feeling about this St. Mary's squad this year, Drew? And San Diego is much better than some expected. Do you think that they can give St. Mary's a tough game here?
Yeah, I do. I don't think the Gales are all that this year. You know, they're not like the St. Mary's teams of past, and they're going to slow the game down. Obviously, you know, they played a slow pace. They are efficient, though. You got to give them credit where credit's due. Free throws, they hit their three-pointers. I just don't think they have the talent, the athleticism that they've had in years past. Going against San Diego, it's a team I haven't bet much this season. You know, this is more Maxwell Smart's territory as far as the smaller schools, but they hit their free throws as well. Pretty efficient team offensively and defensively, and they're not really going to push the pace either. In this kind of price range, you know, I would start to look towards the under. San Diego's a team that's kind of tripped up a bunch towards the end of the season in conference play, but it's put together some nice wins in the tournament for whatever reason. They're playing well at a neutral site conference here. Conference tournament, Portland, Santa Clara, and BYU. That BYU game, big win. They won and covered by 20-plus points. So they're playing very well. It's just kind of what do you want to take here? Kind of the team in St. Mary's that's got the pedigree, or San Diego kind of coming up real recently here, sitting at 21-13, put together a bunch of wins in a row. I would look towards San Diego here, Jimmy. I haven't bet it yet, but with a slow-paced game, and a team that can hit their free throws, pretty efficient on both sides, I'll lean with San Diego.
Interesting, taking the dog here. I like hearing that look early in the day. Shout out to our man Aaron Cervantes. Says, I'm new here. When does Late Show start? Pacific time starts at 2:30, and it'll be all basketball on the Late Show. So thank you for joining us there. Matt Randall has a question for you, Drew. He says, want to know your thoughts on teams that play on neutral courts in March, especially in bigger arenas. And he says, I personally like the under in those spots. You have a feel on that?
Bigger arenas, absolutely. Especially like when we start getting to like Sweet 16 Final Four with the sight lines. You know, if a basketball game's at a football stadium where the stands are further back from the basket, I think that absolutely matters, especially if it's a travel day and on the first game where they'll really only have one or two shoot-arounds before the game. So I think that that's a tough spot, especially for a team that shoots more three-pointers. I definitely take that into account. Neutral site games, one thing that I love to do is watch the first game at the neutral site game, the second game. And if you notice that rim's tight and a lot of balls kind of bouncing off, maybe look to bet the unders. If the rim's very forgiving in that first game, second game, mainly by free throws, three-pointers as well. Take those percentages and compare them to how the team has shot beforehand. So don't just compare them, overall, 30% this happened. See what percentage of three-pointers they made in the past, and then in those first two games, how did they shoot? Maybe take that into account as far as, the tightness of the rim, and use that in betting the totals going forward for the rest of the tournament. So absolutely. I think betting neutral site games, there's a lot of advantages to the sports bettor where odds makers, they know about these things, but they got so much to do. You know, they're not going to be necessarily 100% on top of these aspects. So I think neutral site games, tournament betting, absolutely. There's a lot you can have in your pocket to get advantages over the odds makers.
Shout out to Chad Ocho, says Mikey Garcia dropped to plus 285, says jump on it. Benjamin Creasy, back to that San Diego spot. So San Diego was in a clear look-ahead spot to Gonzaga when they lost by 20 to St. Mary's. They played Gonzaga 2 games later. That's a very important point to jump on. Matt Randall agreeing with your breakdown there. Dan Kelly on first quarter Pistons plus a half. That's an interesting spot as well. Drew, we're going to have to get out of here now, and I know you got a big show coming at 3 o'clock. Is there any other game on this card that you're looking at?
No, not right now. We hit on the 2 games that I was mainly looking at. I'm After talking with you, seeing the chat box, I think we're going to get on Wofford here -7 as my only play right now. It's not a card I really like today, Jimmy. In today's show, actually with Max, we had off today. We'll be back tomorrow, so I'll be on with you and the fellow LoBaggers tomorrow at 11:45 Eastern time and Wednesday, and also 3 o'clock going forward as far as SBR Madness with the Maxwell Smart, the guy that loves the strippers. He's a fun guy. He knows his college basketball as well. So we'll be on 9:30 a.m. Eastern and 3 o'clock Eastern in the afternoon every day, starting tomorrow going forward throughout March.
Oh, that's great. Someone told me that they were moving you guys to 4 p.m. Eastern time. Is that not the case?
Nice catch there, Jimmy. That is the case. It is 4 o'clock Eastern, so 3 o'clock Central.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, so it's 9:30 in the morning and 4 p.m. Eastern moving forward. So you guys will be the lead-up show to Low Shack in the Bag.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that, man. So we can just transition right into you, or should we take a break, go off, and then come back on with LoBag?
We'd like people to get their smoke on, pour themselves a beverage, and make a sandwich. So we'll probably do like 10 or 15 minutes or so. Drew, what a treat it is to roll with you, man, and thank you so much for joining us. And you're going to be so busy over the next few weeks, so joining us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning really, really means a lot to us. Thank you so much. Eddie Olis has missed a 9,500 parlay on Flaky Dallas Stars on Saturday. Oh, yeah. You know what I think about Jamie Benn. And say again, I want nothing to do with them. My man Sasha Taljard says, see you tomorrow, an hour early for me here in South Africa. Sasha Taljard, much love to you. Thank you for joining us. Vegas Gun, I love you so much. All you guys, all the LoBaggers now, thank you so much for joining us. We have a big, big afternoon of study ahead of us and then a big, big late show. See, when I see cards like this, I know a lot of people are like, man, what an ugly card. I absolutely love this college basketball card because it means we're going to be able to break down each and every one of these games, and that's what makes me so excited. So we're going to have a huge late show. Thank you to our guest, my man, Drew Martin, who you can find on Twitter at Drew Martin Bets. Good luck in your afternoon study, and I will see you guys in just a few hours on our late show. Much love to you guys. Remember, most importantly, Leche, Elo's Bookmakers.